The hidden power of Stoicism. Most people today live in constant reaction. They wake up, check their phones, and instantly become slaves to notifications, news, and opinions. Their moods rise and fall depending on what someone else says or what random event happens that day. And yet, more than 2,000 years ago, a group of philosophers discovered a way to escape this chaos. They called it Stoicism. Stoicism is not about being emotionless, and it's not about suppressing your feelings. It's about mastering yourself so completely that the storms of life cannot shake you. Imagine walking through your day calm, unshakable, and strong, while everyone else is panicking, complaining, or chasing distractions. That is the power of Stoicism. Why does this matter today? Because the truth is simple: the world will never stop testing you. Challenges, setbacks, criticism, and chaos will always exist. But here's the secret: you don't need to control the world to win. You only need to control yourself. And that's exactly what the Stoics mastered. So what are these timeless secrets? Let's begin with the first one, the foundation of all the rest. Secret 1. Master your perception. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king of Rome, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the cornerstone of Stoicism. Your perception shapes your reality. Two people can go through the same event. One sees tragedy, the other sees opportunity. The difference isn't in what happened, but in how they interpret it. The Stoics understood that events themselves are neutral. Losing a job, being criticized, facing failure, none of these carry inherent meaning. The meaning comes from the story you attach to them. If you say, "This is the end, I'm doomed," you collapse. But if you say, "This is a chance to rebuild, to grow stronger, to refine myself," then what looked like defeat becomes training. Think about your own life. How many times have you suffered more from the way you thought about something than from the thing itself? Epictetus warned, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." Here's a practice: the next time something frustrates you, pause. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What does this allow me to practice?" Patience, resilience, courage. This simple shift in perception transforms suffering into strength. And here's the deeper lesson: if you can master your perception, you outdo almost everyone around you. Because most people hand over their power to circumstances. They let the world decide their mood, their confidence, even their self-worth. But you, if you choose to see with Stoic eyes, become untouchable. That is the first secret of Stoicism: master your perception, and you master your world. In the next part, we'll uncover the second secret, the discipline of controlling desire, and why it separates the strong from the weak. Secret 2. Control your desires. If perception is the foundation of Stoicism, then controlling your desires is the wall that protects you from being enslaved by the world. Most people don't even realize it, but they live as servants to their cravings. They are constantly pulled by the promise of pleasure, more money, more likes, more recognition, more comfort. But the Stoics saw the trap: the more you need, the weaker you become. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Think about that for a moment. A billionaire who is desperate for another billion is poorer than the farmer who enjoys a simple meal with contentment. Why? Because the billionaire's happiness is chained to something outside his control, while the farmer's is within reach, right now. The Stoics didn't reject pleasure. They enjoyed good food, friendships, success, and comfort when it came. But they trained themselves never to depend on it. The real danger is not enjoying something, it's needing it so badly that you collapse without it. That kind of dependence hands your freedom over to the world. Why desire makes you weak? Here's the truth: the more you desire, the easier it is for life, or other people, to control you. If you're addicted to approval, one harsh comment can shatter your confidence. If you're desperate for comfort, a little inconvenience can ruin your whole day. If you're obsessed with luxury, then simplicity feels like torture. Epictetus warned his students, freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it. Every desire you eliminate adds another layer of strength. Every time you show yourself you don't need something, you regain power. A Stoic exercise, voluntary discomfort. The Stoics practiced a powerful exercise, voluntary discomfort. Marcus Aurelius slept on the ground even though he was emperor. Seneca wore rough clothing and ate the simplest meals even though he was wealthy. Why? To remind themselves, I can endure this. Comfort is pleasant, but it is not necessary. You can practice the same today. Take cold showers, walk instead of drive, fast for a day, or turn off your phone for an evening. When you deliberately step away from comfort, you prove to yourself that you are not dependent on it. And this proof is liberating. Outdoing others through simplicity. Here's the paradox: when you stop chasing comfort, pleasure, and approval, you become stronger than those who do. Most people are exhausted, not because life is so hard, but because they're running endlessly on the treadmill of desire. They crave more, but satisfaction slips through their fingers. But you, if you embrace the Stoic path, can live with fewer needs and more freedom. While others are restless, you are steady. While others chase, you stand firm. And in that steadiness lies real power. Reflective questions. So ask yourself, what do I think I need that I could actually live without? Where have I handed over my freedom to cravings? How would my life change if I stopped chasing and started standing still in strength? That is the second Stoic secret: control your desires, and nothing can control you. In the next part, we'll uncover Secret 3, mastering your reactions, the art of staying calm when the world tries to provoke you. Secret 3, mastering your reactions. Life will test you, constantly. People will insult you, events will surprise you, and fortune will turn against you without warning. But the Stoics believed that none of these things had the power to truly harm you. The only thing that can break you is not what happens, but how you react to what happens. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Imagine the freedom in those words. The world could throw storms, betrayals, and tragedies at you, yet if you master your reaction, you remain untouchable inside. Why reactions matter more than events? Think about it. Two people can experience the exact same situation but live completely different realities. One loses his job and falls into despair, convinced life is over. Another loses the same job and sees it as a chance to rebuild stronger, wiser, freer. The event is the same, but the reaction creates two different worlds. Epictetus said it sharply: men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. That means your reaction is the filter through which you create your experience of reality. If your filter is cloudy with anger, fear, or resentment, the world looks dark. But if your filter is clear with wisdom and self-control, you can see opportunities even in chaos. The power of the pause. The Stoics trained themselves to pause before reacting. When someone insulted them, they refused to be dragged into anger. When adversity struck, they took a breath before panicking. This pause is everything. It is in that moment between stimulus and response that freedom lives. Ask yourself, how often do you give away that freedom? How often do you let your boss's bad mood ruin your day? Or a stranger's rude comment poison your peace? What if instead, you paused, breathed, and chose a response aligned with your values instead of your impulses? A Stoic exercise, the view from above. To strengthen this skill, the Stoics practiced the view from above. Imagine rising high above the earth, looking down at your problem from a vast distance. That argument, that frustration, that setback, from above, how small does it look? How temporary? When you zoom out, you see how little it really matters in the grand timeline of life. This perspective softens your reaction and restores calm. Outdoing others through self-control. Here's where mastery of reaction sets you apart. Most people are predictable. Insult them, they get angry. Delay them, they get impatient. Criticize them, they get defensive. But you, if you embrace Stoic strength, become unshakable. You respond with calm where others explode. You answer with dignity where others collapse. You are no longer easy to manipulate because your emotions are not at the mercy of others. This is how Stoics outdo the world, not by controlling it, but by controlling themselves. In a culture where outrage spreads faster than truth, calmness becomes a superpower. Reflective questions. When was the last time I reacted in a way that I later regretted? What would have changed if I paused before responding? How can I train myself to choose calm over chaos? That is the third Stoic secret: master your reactions, and the world cannot master you. In the next part, we'll explore Secret 4, practicing voluntary hardship, the discipline that makes you stronger than comfort ever could. Secret 4, practicing voluntary hardship. If you look around at modern life, you'll notice something. Most people are terrified of discomfort. They avoid hunger with constant snacking, avoid silence with endless noise, and avoid challenge by choosing the easiest path. Yet the Stoics taught the opposite. They deliberately chose discomfort at times, not because they enjoyed suffering, but because they understood its purpose. It strengthens the mind, hardens the spirit, and prepares the soul for whatever life brings. Seneca wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which ye shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself, is this the condition that I feared?" What was Seneca doing here? He was testing himself. By practicing hardship voluntarily, eating simple food, wearing simple clothes, living simply, he was training his mind to no longer fear poverty, loss, or discomfort. When life later struck him with real misfortune, he was already prepared. Why voluntary hardship is a secret weapon. When you practice hardship, you build inner strength that few people have. You discover that you don't need luxury, approval, or constant comfort to survive. Instead, you learn self-reliance. While others collapse when life removes their comforts, you stand strong because you've already rehearsed living without them. Think of it like training in a gym. Lifting weights may feel uncomfortable, but it makes you stronger for real life. The Stoics treated voluntary hardship as mental weightlifting. Each act of chosen discomfort made them tougher, calmer, and freer. Small acts of hardship you can practice. This isn't about punishing yourself or living in misery. It's about training your will. You can start small. Take cold showers to strengthen resilience. Fast for a few meals to test your relationship with hunger. Sleep on the floor for a night to remind yourself you don't need luxury to rest. Walk instead of driving, even when it's less convenient. Limit your possessions and live with less for a week. Every time you do this, you whisper to yourself, I am stronger than my cravings, tougher than my fears, freer than my comforts. Outdoing others through resilience. Why does this make you outdo others? Because most people are slaves to comfort. The moment life removes their conveniences, they panic. But you, if you train through voluntary hardship, develop an inner calm. You don't break when tested. You don't cling desperately to what can be taken away. You know you can adapt, survive, and even thrive with less. Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Voluntary hardship rewires that estimate. It teaches you that external conditions don't control your peace. Reflective pause. Ask yourself, what is one comfort I'm afraid to lose? How could I practice living without it, just for a day, to test my strength? If life stripped me of everything tomorrow, what virtues would I still have left? A Stoic vision of strength. Imagine the freedom this brings. You're no longer chained to your phone, your luxuries, or even your reputation. You've tested life without them, and you're still whole. That makes you unbreakable. When others worry about what they might lose, you walk with calm confidence, because you've already proven to yourself you can endure. That is the fourth Stoic secret, voluntary hardship as the path to inner freedom. Up next, we'll explore Secret 5, living in alignment with nature and reason, the Stoic foundation for peace and purpose. Secret 5, living in alignment with nature and reason. The Stoics often spoke about living according to nature. At first, this may sound strange or vague. Does it mean living in the forest, abandoning cities, or eating only raw food? Not at all. For the Stoics, nature referred to something much deeper, the order of the universe and the rational capacity that makes us uniquely human. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. For him, nature meant reason, justice, and the harmony of living in truth. What does it mean to live in alignment with nature? To live in alignment with nature means two things. Accepting the larger order of the universe. Things happen beyond our control: death, illness, setbacks, loss. Resisting them only creates suffering. Accepting them as part of the natural flow makes us free. Using reason to guide our actions. Unlike animals, we have the ability to reflect, to choose virtue over impulse, to act with justice, courage, and wisdom. That is living in accordance with our human nature. This is why Stoicism is not just about survival, it's about flourishing. A tree fulfills its nature by growing strong and giving shade. A river fulfills its nature by flowing and nourishing life. A human fulfills their nature by living rationally, justly, and with integrity. Why this secret gives you power? When you live according to reason, you step out of chaos. Most people are controlled by impulses, chasing pleasure, fearing pain, reacting blindly. The Stoic, however, pauses and asks, what is the rational, virtuous response here? This alone sets you apart. Imagine someone insults you. Most people react with anger or defensiveness. But if you act from reason, you see the insult for what it is: words, sound, air. You choose your response calmly, maybe with silence, maybe with wisdom. You've already outdone them, not by crushing them, but by not letting them control you. Practical ways to align with nature. Morning reflection. Begin your day asking, what would nature expect of me today? How can I act with reason rather than impulse? Pause before reacting. Whenever you feel anger, fear, or desire rising, stop and ask, is this response aligned with virtue or with impulse? Seek harmony, not conflict. Nature thrives on balance, the sun and rain, day and night, loss and gain. You too must find balance, avoiding extremes and seeking inner harmony. Accept death as natural. Nothing is more natural than mortality. By facing it, you no longer waste your life in fear. Outdoing others by walking with nature. Here is why this Stoic secret makes you unshakable. While others fight reality, you flow with it. While others resist what is, you accept it and act wisely within it. Life stops being a battlefield and becomes a path. You conserve your energy, you remain calm in storms, and you make decisions that last. Seneca reminds us, fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling. By living in alignment with nature, you let yourself be led, not dragged. You walk willingly with life. A challenge for you. Ask yourself, where am I fighting reality instead of accepting it? Do I live according to my higher nature, or do I let impulse control me? If reason is my true strength, how can I let it guide my choices today? Closing thought. The Stoics believe that once you align yourself with nature and reason, you become untouchable. You're no longer tossed around by fortune or fear. You walk in harmony with the universe itself, and that harmony radiates strength, peace, and quiet power. That is the fifth Stoic secret, to live in alignment with nature and reason. Next, we'll move into Secret 6, turning adversity into advantage, one of the most transformative principles in all of Stoic philosophy. Secret 6, turning adversity into advantage. What if the very obstacles you dread were actually the path forward? What if every difficulty, every setback, every moment of pain could be used as fuel rather than as a chain? This is not just wishful thinking, it is one of the core teachings of Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." These words are not poetry, they are a battle cry. The obstacle is not an interruption, it is the path itself. The Stoic view of adversity. Most people see adversity as a stop sign. They encounter loss, failure, betrayal, or hardship and collapse under the weight of it. But the Stoics trained themselves to see adversity as a teacher, as raw material for growth. Epictetus, who was born a slave and later became a great philosopher, put it sharply, "Difficulties show what men are." For him, challenges were not punishments, they were opportunities to reveal and strengthen character. And here lies the power: if you can look at adversity not as an enemy but as an ally, then nothing can defeat you. You are always learning, always transforming, always rising stronger. Stories of Stoic resilience. Consider Marcus Aurelius himself. He ruled during plagues, wars, and endless political turmoil. Any other leader might have drowned in despair. But Marcus used each challenge as training. Instead of crying out, "Why me?" he asked, "How can I serve? How can I embody virtue here?" Or look at Epictetus. He lived with a broken body, the result of abuse during slavery. Yet instead of being crushed, he declared that his freedom lay in his mind, in how he chose to see and respond to his suffering. His hardship became his strength. These men didn't just survive adversity, they transformed it. And so can you. Practical ways to turn adversity into advantage. Reframe immediately. When a challenge arises, replace the thought, "Why is this happening to me?" with, "What can I learn here? How can this serve me?" See training, not tragedy. A heavy weight builds muscle. A tough challenge builds resilience. Remind yourself, this is training for the soul. Focus on what you control. You cannot control the event, but you can always control your perspective and your response. This alone makes adversity powerless to break you. Journal your obstacles. Write down the hardest things you face and brainstorm at least one way they could be opportunities in disguise. Why this secret helps you outdo everyone. Most people retreat when difficulties strike. They complain, give up, or get stuck in fear. But you, by applying this Stoic secret, move forward while others freeze. You adapt, you learn, you become wiser. Imagine two athletes. One curses the rain and cancels training. The other trains in the rain, pushing through discomfort. Which one will dominate when the real challenge comes? Adversity is the test that separates the weak from the unbreakable. Reflection questions. How have I been treating my hardships, as curses or as teachers? What adversity in my life could I reframe today into an opportunity? Am I running from obstacles, or am I using them as the path? Closing thought. Life is not about avoiding obstacles. It is about walking directly into them and transforming them into stepping stones. The Stoics knew that adversity is not the enemy, it is the forge where greatness is born. And that is the sixth Stoic secret, to turn adversity into advantage. Next, we will explore Secret 7, Mastering the Art of Self-Discipline, perhaps the cornerstone of all Stoic strength. Secret 7, Mastering the Art of Self-Discipline. What separates those who dream from those who achieve? What distinguishes the person who talks about change from the one who embodies it? The answer, in one word, is discipline. And for the Stoics, self-discipline was not just a habit, it was the foundation of freedom and strength. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. But the strength he referred to does not magically appear. It is cultivated through disciplined choices, moment after moment, day after day. Why discipline is true freedom. To many people, discipline sounds like chains. Waking up early, working when you don't feel like it, saying no to temptations, it feels like restriction. But the Stoics flipped this view. For them, discipline was liberation. Think of it this way: the undisciplined person is a slave. A slave to impulses, to cravings, to laziness, to the mood of the moment. But the disciplined person is free. Free from being controlled by urges, free from regret, free to pursue higher goals. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That mastery is discipline. Without it, you are tossed like a ship without a rudder. With it, you are unshakable. Training the Stoic way. Self-discipline is not built overnight. It is trained like a muscle. And the Stoics trained relentlessly. Daily routines. Marcus Aurelius pushed himself to rise from bed early, reminding himself that he was made to serve, not to lie in luxury. Voluntary hardship. Musonius Rufus, another Stoic teacher, advised practicing discomfort, eating simple foods, enduring cold, walking instead of writing, to strengthen the will. Control of speech and thought. Epictetus urged his students to watch their words, to speak only when necessary, and to control thoughts before they turned into harmful actions. Each of these practices was about sharpening discipline, brick by brick, until their character was unbreakable. Practical exercises for you. Morning decision. Each day, choose one thing you will do no matter what. Do it before excuses arrive. Resist one temptation. Every day, deny yourself something small, whether it's unhealthy food, unnecessary scrolling, or idle gossip. This trains willpower. Track progress. Journal each night. Did I control myself today, or did impulses control me? Where did I win? Where must I strengthen? Discipline grows through awareness and repetition. Why discipline sets you apart. Most people wait for motivation. They only act when they feel like it. That is why they stay average. But those who live with discipline act regardless of mood. They show up, they keep promises, they move forward while others drift. Discipline is rare, which is why it is powerful. It turns ordinary people into extraordinary leaders, creators, and warriors of the spirit. Reflection questions. Where in my life do I let impulses rule me? What single discipline, if strengthened, would transform my life? Am I living like a master of myself, or like a slave to my habits? Closing thought. The Stoics understood that greatness is not built on bursts of passion but on consistent discipline. It is the daily sharpening of the blade, the refusal to surrender to weakness, the steady march forward even when no one is watching. And that is the seventh Stoic secret, to master the art of self-discipline. Secret 8, the power of gratitude in every circumstance. Imagine this: you wake up tomorrow and the very things you now take for granted, your health, your home, your loved ones, are gone. Would you not ache to have them back? The Stoics believed that gratitude should never wait for loss to teach us value. Instead, it must be cultivated daily, deliberately, and fiercely. Marcus Aurelius, burdened with the responsibilities of ruling the largest empire on earth, still found time to write in his journal words of gratitude. He thanked the universe for his teachers, his family, and even his challenges. Why? Because he understood that the mind cannot be both grateful and miserable at the same time. Gratitude is the antidote to bitterness. Why gratitude makes you stronger. Gratitude is not sentimental softness, it is strength. To see what is good even in hardship, to recognize blessings hidden in pain, that requires a fortified spirit. Epictetus, once a slave, taught his students to say, "Do not ask that events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do, and your life will go smoothly." That is gratitude in action, not resisting life, but embracing it, even when it stings. Gratitude trains you to see beyond temporary discomfort. It reminds you that every moment, even the bitter ones, is a teacher, sharpening your resilience and wisdom. Gratitude as armor against negativity. Think of gratitude as a shield. Negative thoughts, complaints, and envy crash against it but cannot pierce it. A grateful mind does not have room for self-pity or jealousy. Seneca warned, "He who receives a benefit with gratitude repays the first installment on it." Gratitude, then, is not only an internal practice but also a way of honoring others and the flow of life itself. Practical Stoic gratitude practices. Morning thanks. Before you rise, name 3 things you are grateful for, not in general, but specific to that day. Evening review. Journal the gifts of your day. Even if the day was difficult, write down what it taught you. Gratitude in hardship. When facing challenges, ask, what is life trying to strengthen in me? Patience. Courage. Compassion. By doing this, gratitude ceases to be a vague feeling and becomes a disciplined practice. How gratitude sets you apart. Look around. How many people complain constantly about what they lack? How many dwell on disappointments instead of blessings? Gratitude distinguishes you because it shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance, from victimhood to power. Those who practice gratitude radiate calmness and strength. Others are drawn to them because gratitude is magnetic. It uplifts both the one who practices it and those who witness it. Reflection questions. Do I spend more time complaining or appreciating? When was the last time I expressed genuine thanks to someone close to me? Can I find something to be grateful for in my current struggles? Closing thought. The Stoics knew that gratitude is not optional, it is essential. It transforms loss into perspective, suffering into growth, and ordinary days into treasures. To live without gratitude is to live blind. To live with gratitude is to see life in its fullness. That is the 8th Stoic secret, the power of gratitude in every circumstance. Next, we move to Secret 9, turning adversity into advantage. This is where Stoicism shines brightest, showing us how to not only survive difficulties but to rise stronger because of them. Secret 9, turning adversity into advantage. Life will not spare you from pain. No one escapes disappointment, betrayal, illness, or failure. The Stoics understood this and refused to waste time wishing for a life free of hardship. Instead, they asked, how can I transform difficulty into strength? How can I make obstacles serve me rather than crush me? Marcus Aurelius put it plainly, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is one of the most revolutionary ideas in philosophy. Instead of resisting obstacles, Stoicism teaches us to use them as raw material for growth, like fire consuming fuel and growing stronger with every log thrown upon it. Reframing adversity. The Stoics mastered the art of reframing. An insult becomes a chance to practice patience. A financial loss becomes training in resilience. A betrayal becomes a test of forgiveness. Instead of asking, why me? They asked, what strength is life demanding from me right now? Think of Epictetus, born into slavery, crippled, and stripped of external freedom. By every measure, he should have been broken. Yet he turned his adversity into a philosophy that still inspires the world today. His suffering sharpened his wisdom. His chains gave rise to inner freedom. Why adversity builds greatness. Adversity is a forge, it melts away weakness and shapes the steel of character. Without challenge, there is no discipline. Without failure, there is no resilience. Without discomfort, there is no growth. Seneca wrote, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. He meant that the difficulties we despise are the very forces that carve us into something greater. Practical Stoic approach to hardship. Pause before reacting. When difficulty strikes, resist the urge to collapse or lash out. Step back and see the situation as training. Name the lesson. Ask yourself, what quality is this event trying to cultivate in me? Courage, endurance, wisdom, humility. Act with virtue. Choose to respond not with complaint but with strength, not with despair but with dignity. By doing this, Hardship becomes a classroom instead of a prison. Modern examples of this secret. Think about someone who lost their job but used it as an opportunity to pursue a path more aligned with their values. Or the athlete who turned an injury into a chance to build mental toughness. Or the individual who grew kinder and more compassionate after facing personal loss. These are not accidents, they are applications of the Stoic principle of transforming adversity into advantage. Reflection questions. When was the last time I faced a serious setback? Did it break me, or did it build me? If I look back on my past challenges, what hidden gifts did they contain? How would my life change if I began to view every obstacle as fuel rather than as chains? Closing thought. The Stoics remind us that adversity is not the enemy, it is the sculptor of greatness. The difference between those who crumble and those who rise lies not in the obstacles they face but in the perspective they choose. Every difficulty can either imprison you or elevate you. The choice is yours. That is the 9th Stoic secret, turning adversity into advantage. Next, we move to the final chapter of this journey, Secret 10, living in harmony with nature and reason. This will tie all the previous lessons together and show how Stoicism offers not just tools for survival but a roadmap for a truly unshakable and victorious life. Secret 10, living in harmony with nature and reason. Every Stoic teaching, every discipline, and every practice ultimately points toward a single truth, that peace, strength, and happiness come from living in harmony with nature and reason. This is not simply about admiring forests, rivers, or stars, although the Stoics valued that deeply. It is about aligning yourself with the natural order of the world, the rhythm of life itself. Marcus Aurelius, writing in his Meditations, often reminded himself, live in accord with nature. But what did he mean? For the Stoics, nature was not just trees and oceans, it was the very essence of reality, the laws of the universe, the cycles of growth and decay, the truths that cannot be bent by human desire. To live in harmony with nature is to stop fighting against what is inevitable, and instead learn to flow with it. Accepting the flow of life. The seasons change, empires rise and fall, people are born and die. You too are part of this grand cycle. When you accept this, you free yourself from endless resistance. The Stoic does not waste time demanding that life be something it is not. Instead, he chooses to live fully within the reality that is given to him. Imagine standing in a river. You could exhaust yourself trying to push against the current, but you will never stop the flow. Or you can learn to swim with it, letting it carry you forward while guiding your movements wisely. Stoicism is learning to swim with the current of life. Reason as your compass. But harmony with nature is not passivity. The Stoics elevated reason, the divine spark of the human mind, as our greatest gift. Through reason, we are able to distinguish what is within our control and what is not. Through reason, we cultivate virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. Living with reason means you do not allow emotions to rule you blindly. You acknowledge anger, fear, and desire, but you do not let them dictate your actions. Instead, you act according to principle, not impulse. You choose clarity over confusion, order over chaos. The power of alignment. When your life is aligned with both nature and reason, you experience a rare kind of freedom. External chaos may roar around you, but inside you remain steady. Fortune may shift, but your character does not. You stop being tossed about by every wind of opinion or every wave of fortune, because you have an anchor deeper than circumstance. This is what the Stoics called ataraxia, tranquility of the soul. Not the fragile calm that comes when everything goes your way, but the unshakable calm that endures even when the storm rages. A practical Stoic practice. Here's an exercise to bring this secret into daily life. At the end of each day, reflect and ask, did I live according to nature and reason today? Did I act in alignment with truth, with virtue, with the reality before me? Or did I fight against what cannot be changed? Write down one small way you can align yourself more closely tomorrow. It could be accepting a disappointment without bitterness, or practicing patience in traffic, or choosing honesty when lying would be easier. This reflection slowly shifts your life into harmony. The reward of Stoic living. The final Stoic secret is not about outshining others, but about becoming complete within yourself. When you live in harmony with nature and reason, you stop being a prisoner of circumstance. You are no longer broken by losses, nor intoxicated by gains. You are steady, unshakable, and free. This is what Marcus Aurelius meant when he wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Closing thought. The 10 Stoic secrets we have uncovered are not abstract theories, they are tools for life. From mastering your thoughts and emotions, to embracing adversity, to aligning with nature itself, they create a foundation for strength and resilience that few ever reach. So, as you step away from these lessons, ask yourself, am I willing to live by these principles, not just admire them? Am I ready to stop complaining, stop resisting, and start living with courage, wisdom, and peace? Because if you are, then you will not only outdo others, you will outdo the weaker version of yourself that once held you back. And that, the Stoics would say, is the greatest victory of all.